A struggling human mechanic assists an alien biker, unaware she's a hidden billionaire looking for love. The neon sign above Chen's repair shop flickered twice before going dark completely. Marcus Chen stared at it from inside his tiny garage, knowing he couldn't afford to fix even that. The wrench in his hand felt heavier than usual as he tightened the last bolt on Mrs. Patterson's old ground car. That should do it, Marcus said, wiping grease from his hands onto his already stained coveralls. The elderly human woman smiled warmly at him. "How much do I owe you, dear?" she asked, reaching for her credit chip. Marcus calculated quickly in his head. The repair was worth at least 200 credits, but Mrs. Patterson lived on a fixed pension. 50 credits, he said. It was just a minor adjustment. "Marcus Chen, you're too kind for your own good." But she transferred the 50 credits anyway and patted his shoulder before leaving. Marcus watched her drive away and sighed. Too kind for his own good. Maybe that was true. His shop sat on the edge of New Portland, where the fancy buildings ended and the struggling neighborhoods began. Rent was cheaper here, but so were his customers' wallets. The eviction notice on his desk said he had 30 days to pay 3 months of back rent. Marcus ran his fingers through his dark hair, leaving a streak of grease he didn't notice. 3,000 credits might as well have been 3 million. It was nearly midnight when he heard the sound. A deep, smooth hum that made his mechanic's heart skip a beat. That was no ordinary engine. Marcus stepped outside into the cool night air and froze. A hovercycle glided down the street, its sleek body reflecting the scattered streetlights like liquid metal. But something was wrong. The engine's hum stuttered, coughed, and then died completely. The bike coasted to a stop right in front of his garage. The rider climbed off gracefully despite the breakdown. She was clearly alien, standing about 6.5 feet tall with violet skin that seemed to shimmer slightly in the dim light. Her eyes were large and golden, with vertical pupils that reminded Marcus of a cat's. She wore a worn leather jacket and road gear that had seen many miles. "Excuse me," she said, her voice carrying a melodic accent Marcus couldn't place. "Is this a repair shop? Looks like you've got trouble." "And yes, I'm afraid my bike has decided to quit on me at a very inconvenient time." Custom design, advanced power systems, materials he'd only read about in technical journals. This bike was worth more than his entire shop. "May I take a look?" he asked. Zalara nodded, watching him with curious golden eyes. "Please do. Though I should warn you, it's a Zentari Mark VII. The technology might be unfamiliar. Not this advanced, but the basic principles should be similar." He opened the panel and peered inside with his diagnostic light. Immediately, he saw the problem. A critical power coupling had fractured, probably from stress and age. The crack was hairline thin but deadly to the system. "Found it," Marcus said, sitting back on his heels. "Your main power coupling is cracked. It's not letting energy flow properly to your thrust system." He had parts that might work, but adapting them to this advanced system would take hours. He was exhausted, broke, and should have sent her to one of the fancy shops downtown. "I can have it done by morning," he heard himself say. "I can pay well," Zalara said quickly. "Whatever your rate is, I'll double it." Something in her golden eyes looked tired and far from home. "Let's just get you back on the road," Marcus said, standing up. "We can worry about payment after." "That's very trusting of you." Marcus found himself explaining his process, how he adapted standard parts to work with advanced systems, using human ingenuity to bridge the gaps in his resources. "You're very skilled," Zalara observed around 3 in the morning. "Why is your shop so small?" "I've just got these 2 hands, and whatever creativity I can manage." "Yeah, I really do." "Please name your price." "You're not going to charge me." "Safe travels, Zalara." He hoped he would. 3 days passed before Marcus saw the sleek hovercycle again. He was replacing a worn fuel injector on a delivery truck when he heard that distinctive hum outside his garage. His heart did a small flip that he tried to ignore. Zalara dismounted with the same elegant grace, pulling off her helmet. Her violet skin seemed brighter in the afternoon sunlight, and she smiled when she saw him. "Hello, Marcus," she said warmly. "I hope I'm not interrupting. I was passing through the area and thought you might take a quick look." Marcus found a slightly loose mounting bracket and a minor calibration issue, both easy fixes that would barely cause any noise. "Someone's taking good care of this machine," Marcus said, tightening the bracket. "These are really minor issues. Most people wouldn't even notice them. You refused payment, so this is my way of checking on both you and your work. Corporate consulting work keeps me moving constantly. I help companies improve their operations. What about you? Have you always run this shop?" How he'd learned mechanics from his father, how he dreamed of opening a place where struggling families could get honest repairs at fair prices. How that dream was slowly bankrupting him. "The big chains downtown can undercut my prices because they buy parts in bulk," Marcus explained. "And people trust corporate names more than a small garage in this neighborhood." "Doesn't matter if nobody knows about it," Marcus said, finishing the calibration. "All done. That noise should be completely gone. And no arguing this time. I'm tired of fancy restaurants and overpriced station food." The small restaurant served simple human comfort food, nothing fancy, but the portions were generous and the coffee was strong. "This is wonderful," Zalara said, trying her first bite of meatloaf. "It tastes like someone actually cared about making it." Zalara asked endless questions about human culture, about Marcus's community, about the small things that made life meaningful. Marcus found himself relaxing around her, enjoying her genuine curiosity and the way she listened like his words truly mattered. Over the following weeks, Zalara returned regularly. Her bike developed mysterious issues that Marcus always fixed quickly. A loose bolt here, a minor adjustment there, preventive maintenance that she insisted on scheduling. Marcus began to suspect she was creating excuses to visit, but he didn't mind. Each visit meant conversation, laughter, and a growing friendship that brightened his struggling days. "You know," Marcus said one afternoon while checking her tire pressure, "for someone who travels constantly for work, you sure spend a lot of time in New Portland. My current assignment is flexible, and I've found this city more interesting than most." New customers appeared with complex repair needs, jobs that paid well and spread word about his skills. His appointment book, empty for months, suddenly had entries for weeks ahead. "Business is picking up," Mrs. Patterson observed when she brought her car in for an oil change. "I've been telling everyone about you, dear." One evening, Zalara arrived just as Marcus was closing up. "Come with me," she said mysteriously. "I want to show you something." From up there, they could see the lights of New Portland spreading toward the horizon, the fancy downtown towers glowing against the darkening sky. "It's beautiful," Zalara said softly, sitting on the edge of the roof with her long legs dangling. Marcus sat beside her carefully. "You can see the whole city from here. I used to come up here as a kid and imagine all the places I'd go someday. Sometimes the best places are the ones you're already in. They never stop to appreciate what they have." Marcus wanted to ask her more about her life, about the sadness he sometimes saw in her eyes, but he didn't want to push. "Marcus," Zalara said finally, "if you had unlimited resources, what would you do? With your shop, I mean." "I'd expand it into a training center. Teach young people the trade, especially kids from struggling families who can't afford fancy technical schools. Give them skills that can change their lives, and I'd keep repair costs low for the community." "Not wealth for yourself?" Zalara asked. "What would I do with luxury?" Marcus laughed. "I've got everything I need. Good work, good friends, and lately pretty good company." Marcus didn't know it yet, but that conversation would change everything. Marcus arrived at his shop one morning to find 5 messages waiting on his comm system. All of them were appointment requests for complex repairs, the kind that paid well and challenged his skills. He stared at the screen in disbelief. "Something wrong?" Zalara's voice came from behind him. Marcus jumped slightly. She had a habit of arriving quietly, her hovercycle making barely any sound. Today she wore casual clothes instead of her riding gear, a simple jacket and comfortable pants that somehow looked elegant on her tall frame. "Just surprised," Marcus said, showing her the messages. "This is more business than I usually get in a month." Marcus found himself working long hours, but for the first time in years, he wasn't worried about rent. His landlord, Mr. Pacheco, had even stopped by to say that the next 3 months were already paid. "Someone made an anonymous payment, Mr. Pacheco explained, looking as confused as Marcus felt. "Said they wanted to support local businesses. Lucky you, eh?" "Maybe someone believes in what you're doing," she suggested, helping him organize his newly restocked parts inventory. "Good people attract good luck sometimes." She always said kindness comes back around. She told stories about the planets she'd visited, always careful to describe herself as a humble consultant traveling for business. Marcus told her about his dreams, his community, the kids in the neighborhood who reminded him of himself at their age. Hungry to learn but lacking opportunities. "You care about people," Zalara observed one afternoon. "Not just customers, people. A little kindness costs nothing and might mean everything to someone." The neighborhood closed off 3 blocks for music, food stalls, and celebration. Marcus had volunteered to help set up, and he invited Zalara without really thinking about it. "A human festival," Zalara's golden eyes lit up. "I'd love to come." "Marcus, introduce us to your friend," Mrs. Patterson called from her food stall. Soon Zalara was surrounded by curious neighbors, answering questions about her homeworld and trying samples of human festival food. She laughed genuinely at Pete's terrible jokes and complimented Mrs. Chen's handmade decorations. "She's wonderful," Mrs. Patterson whispered to Marcus. "And the way she looks at you, dear boy," Patterson said with a knowing smile. As evening fell, the traditional music started. Marcus found Zalara standing at the edge of the dance area, watching couples move together in simple, joyful patterns. "Want to try?" Marcus offered his hand. "I don't know the steps," Zalara said, but she took his hand anyway. "Neither does half the neighborhood," Marcus laughed. "That's not the point." Zalara was naturally graceful, picking up the rhythm quickly. They spun and stepped, laughing when they bumped into other dancers. The song changed to something slower. Marcus found himself standing closer to Zalara, one hand at her waist, the other still holding hers. Her golden eyes met his, and the noise of the festival seemed to fade away. "Thank you for this," Zalara said quietly. "I haven't felt this normal in a very long time." They swayed together, and Marcus thought about kissing her. The moment felt perfect, charged with possibility. But then Zalara's comm device buzzed urgently at her wrist. She glanced at it and her expression changed, becoming guarded. "I'm sorry, I need to take this." "Yes, just work complications," Zalara said, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. "I may need to travel soon. Business matters I can't avoid." "Well, your bike will be here waiting when you get back. I hope you know that." Marcus noticed expensive-looking people occasionally waiting outside the shop in luxury transports, always leaving when Zalara waved them away. "Demanding job?" Marcus asked one afternoon. "Very demanding," Zalara sighed. "Sometimes I wish I could just walk away from all of it. Expectations I can't just abandon. What if the truth about who I am changes everything?" "Director Venn," the lead alien said formally, "the board requires your immediate presence. There are critical decisions that cannot wait any longer." Marcus, I can explain, she started, but the pieces were clicking together in Marcus's mind. The mysterious new customers, his rent paid months in advance, the expensive bike, the constant urgent calls, the way those business people treated her with such deference. Who are you? Marcus asked quietly. Really? My full name is Zalara Venn. I'm the director and primary owner of Venn Industrial, one of the largest manufacturing corporations in the galaxy. You lied to me, Marcus said. I omitted the truth, Zalara said desperately. Everything else was real, my feelings, our friendship, everything we shared. This is highly irregular. I need you to leave, Marcus said quietly. Marcus, please. Marcus watched the transport lift into the sky, taking Zalara away. His chest felt hollow, like something essential had been carved out. Mrs. Patterson appeared at his side. What happened, dear? I really don't know. At night, he sat on his garage roof and stared at the city lights, replaying every conversation with Zalara in his mind. Had any of it been real, or had he just been an amusing project for a bored billionaire? You're being stupid, Mrs. Patterson said on the fourth day, bringing him lunch she knew he wouldn't eat otherwise. That girl cared about you. Anyone with eyes could see it. Did she ever actually lie when you asked her direct questions? She'd said she traveled constantly, which was obviously accurate. Why wouldn't she just tell me the truth? Marcus asked. Mrs. Patterson gave him a look that suggested he was being dense. Think about it, dear. A woman with that much money probably has everyone treating her differently because of it. Then she meets you, and you treat her like a regular person. You help her because she needs help, not because of what she can do for you. Why would she risk losing that? The way she'd smiled at the community festival, dancing with simple joy. She said something once, Marcus recalled, about people where she comes from always wanting more, never appreciating what they have. That it was lonely. He searched for information about Zalara Venn. The results were overwhelming. Thousands of articles, interviews, business reports, images of Zalara in elegant clothes at corporate events, always looking composed and distant. But as Marcus read deeper, he found other things too. Venn Industrial had the highest worker satisfaction ratings in their sector. They paid fair wages across all their facilities, even when competitors didn't. Zalara had personally funded education programs on a dozen worlds, giving opportunities to people who couldn't afford them otherwise. One interview caught his attention. A journalist asked why she gave so much to charity when she could be even wealthier. What's the point of wealth if it doesn't help people? Zalara had answered. Money should be a tool for making life better, not just a number to increase endlessly. The Zalara who'd listened to his dreams about teaching young mechanics. The Zalara who'd been genuinely happy eating simple diner food. He found more articles about her personal life, how she rarely attended social events, how she'd been engaged once to another corporate heir, but the relationship had ended badly when she discovered he only cared about combining their business empires. How she'd been quoted saying she wanted someone who saw her, not her bank account. Marcus closed his tablet and put his head in his hands. He'd been so hurt by the deception that he hadn't stopped to understand why she'd done it. Zalara hadn't been playing with him. She'd been trying to have something normal, something real, in a life where everything else was complicated by money and power, and he'd sent her away without even listening to her explanation. I'm an idiot, Marcus said to his empty garage. The next morning, Marcus made a decision. He showered, put on his cleanest clothes, and closed the shop early. Then he looked up the address for Venn Industrial's regional headquarters. The building was downtown, a gleaming tower of glass and metal that made Marcus feel very small. The lobby was all polished stone and expensive art. Well-dressed people hurried past, looking important and busy. Marcus approached the reception desk, where a human woman with perfect hair looked at him with polite confusion. "Can I help you?" she asked, clearly wondering why someone in worn jeans and a plain jacket was in her lobby. "I need to see Zalara Ven," Marcus said. The receptionist's eyebrows rose. "Do you have an appointment?" "If you'd like to submit a request through our public relations department." "Yes, Director Ven. Yes, I understand right away." She hung up and stared at Marcus. "Top floor, someone will escort you." When the doors opened, he stepped into a corridor lined with expensive artwork and floor-to-ceiling windows showing the entire city. A stern-looking alien assistant met him. "Director Ven is in her office. She's asked not to be disturbed." "You have 15 minutes." She looked smaller somehow despite her height. Her shoulders were slumped, and when she turned around, Marcus saw dark circles under her golden eyes. "Marcus," she said quietly, "you came. I needed to tell you something." For the first time in years, someone saw me as just a person. Not a director, not a business opportunity, not a valuable connection. Just me. And I didn't want to lose that. But I was also scared. "Entertainment. Marcus, you're the most genuine person I've met in a decade. Do you know what my life is usually like? Endless meetings with people who pretend to like me because they want business deals. Social events where everyone calculates the value of every conversation. Relationships where I never know if they love me or my bank account. You treated me like I mattered as a person, not as a corporation. How could I risk losing that by telling you something that always changes how people see me? I was just so scared of losing you." The same person who'd laughed at Pete's terrible jokes and danced at the community festival with pure joy. "I looked you up," Marcus said. "Read about your company, your charity work, the things you've said in interviews. And nothing between us was fake. My feelings, my respect for you, everything I shared, it was all real. Maybe not all the details of your life, but I know your heart, and that's what matters. About people where you come from always wanting more. You didn't want more from me. You wanted something simple and real. I get that now. I think it leaves us figuring this out together. You're still Zalara, I'm still Marcus. The rest is just details we'll work through. I prefer resourceful small business owner. But yeah, even then, because what matters isn't what's in your bank account. It's who you are when nobody's watching. And when nobody was watching, you were someone I fell in love with. You love me." When they finally separated, both of them were crying and smiling at the same time. "I love you too," Zalara whispered. "So much." "I like the sound of that." "I'll attend the critical meetings," she told them firmly. "But I'm also going to spend time in New Portland. That's final." After all, Zalara Ven hadn't built the most successful corporation in the sector by making poor decisions. Marcus, meanwhile, was learning to navigate a relationship that came with complications he'd never imagined. The media caught wind of Zalara's frequent visits to a small repair shop, and suddenly his garage was surrounded by reporters. "Director Ven, is it true you're dating a human mechanic?" one shouted. "Are you planning a merger with local businesses?" another called. Zalara handled it with practiced grace, simply smiling and saying, "I'm visiting a friend. Please respect our privacy." "I'm not used to this," he admitted one evening as they sat in his garage after hours, the metal shutters down to keep cameras out. "I know," Zalara said, squeezing his hand. "I'm sorry my life comes with all this attention. I just wish people cared more about who we are than about the story they think we are. I have a proposal for you, a business proposal. A place to teach young people mechanics, give them opportunities they couldn't otherwise afford. Not as charity, but as a partnership. You bring the expertise and the vision. I bring the resources and business infrastructure. We build something together. This is a real business investment. I've been researching vocational training programs across the sector. They have incredible success rates when done right. High graduation rates, excellent job placement, strong community impact. It's not just good for people, it's good economics. Marcus realized she'd been working on this for weeks, putting real thought and effort into understanding what would make it work. "You're serious about this," Marcus said, amazed. "Completely serious," Zalara confirmed. "But only if you want to do it." "This has to be your choice, Marcus. Your dream. I'm just offering to help make it happen." "Equal partners?" Marcus asked. "Real partners, not you funding everything while I just work there." "We make decisions together." Zalara's resources made it possible to move quickly, but Marcus insisted on keeping the project connected to the community. They hired local contractors for the renovation. They partnered with neighborhood organizations to identify students who would benefit most. They kept the design simple and functional rather than flashy and expensive. "This isn't about impressing people," Marcus explained to the architects. "It's about creating a space where young people feel comfortable learning." The warehouse had been transformed into a bright, open space with multiple workstations, modern equipment, and classrooms for theory lessons. Local families filled the space for the opening celebration. Mrs. Patterson brought her famous cookies. Pete catered with his diner food. The neighborhood kids ran around excitedly, exploring the new equipment under careful supervision. "Look at this," Zalara said softly to Marcus as they watched from the side. "Look at what we built." Parents thanking him with tears in their eyes. Community members talking about how this would change their neighborhood. "We did it together," Marcus said, taking Zalara's hand. The first class of students started the following week. 20 young people, ranging from teenagers to adults changing careers, all eager to learn. Marcus threw himself into teaching with passionate energy, discovering he loved it even more than he'd imagined. Zalara split her time between her corporate duties and the center. She taught business classes, helping students understand how to manage finances and start their own enterprises. She brought the same sharp intelligence she used running a trillion-credit corporation to helping a young student calculate overhead costs. "You're a natural teacher," Marcus told her one evening as they locked up the center together. "I learned from the best," Zalara said, kissing his cheek. "You showed me what really matters, not the money or the status. The impact you have on real people's lives." The graduation ceremony was small but meaningful. Marcus watched proudly as each student received their certificate and shared their story. Several mentioned how the program had changed their lives, given them hope they'd been missing. "Thank you, Mr. Chen," one young man said, shaking Marcus's hand firmly. "You believed in me when nobody else did. Choosing this complicated life with me instead of something easier. This," she gestured around the center, "this matters. We're changing lives, and doing it together makes it even more meaningful." My brilliant, kind, stubborn mechanic who wouldn't let me pay him that first night. The struggles, the misunderstanding, the painful revelation, all of it had led to this moment, to a partnership built on respect and shared values, to a love that had survived honesty and grown stronger for it. "Not a single thing," Marcus said. "Every part of the journey brought us here." The neon sign above it had been fixed. It glowed warmly in the evening light, Chen's repair shop. Below it, someone had added a new sign, Chenven Community Technical Center, building dreams together. "You know what the best part is," Marcus said as they stood looking at the signs. "What's that?" Zalara asked. "We're just getting started," Marcus said. "Imagine what we can do next." "With you, I can imagine anything." Real wealth was found in meaningful work, genuine connection, and building something that helped others. It was found in love that saw past status and circumstance to the person underneath. It was found in taking a chance on helping a stranded alien biker on a quiet night, never knowing that simple act of kindness would change everything. Marcus and Zalara walked toward their future together, equal partners in love and life, proving that what really matters transcends wealth, species, or status. What really matters is who you are, what you build, and who you choose to build it with. And they had chosen each other.